So last recipe.
Dessert.
Dessert. I'm gonna finish off a nice little sweet treat.
With two kind of foods that are often talked about when we discuss food safety. Eggs and your dairy products. So your milk and your cheeses are ones that we need to pay attention to. So with eggs, you know, I recommend if you have any recipes where raw eggs are involved, you know, definitely during your cancer treatment, you want to stay away from that. You want to make sure that your eggs are really well cooked. I do sometimes give people recipes for smoothies and other things that have eggs in them, but you can actually add those packaged eggs. So if you know what it's kind of like the little milk carton it almost looks like. Those have been pasteurized. So you can actually add those egg whites to smoothies. You can add them to, you know, other recipes, and you don't have to cook them in the same way that you would cook these eggs.
So this is a really, really simple recipe. Apple, ricotta fritters. I'm kind of taking my mom's recipe for zucchini fritters and kind of just adding apple to it, which is an amazing thing you can do. I mean, you can turn something savory into sweet really, really easily. And fritters, you know, usually they're deep fried. That's usually the, you know, where fritter comes from. And you can do these on a pan. I'm gonna do them in the oven. My mom also lectured me that last class because I did it on a pan.
Jeremy was trying to fry everything, and his mom came and schooled him.
So we're gonna do these in the oven. They're really, really, really simple. So 2 eggs. We're gonna whisk it up well. We're gonna add some ricotta cheese, really, really nice soft cheese that goes well in savory and in sweet. So we're gonna whisk the ricotta in there. It's gonna be a little, it's not gonna be broken smooth throughout, that's fine. It's gonna give it a really nice fluffiness to the fritter. It's actually kind of, oh, excuse me, gonna come out really, really tasty. So honey, this is what we're sweetening with.
Honey is another one that people ask about pretty often because you can find honey that hasn't been pasteurized. So again, you wanna make sure on the label it says the honey has been pasteurized so that any kind of bacteria has been destroyed.
Cinnamon, just because we're using apples, but you can, again, you can use whatever you want in there. So we're gonna whisk that up. And then 2 apples, any apple, whatever you like. This is called, I think, a Paula Red. There's always new names for apples.
Who's going apple picking this season?
Nobody.
Well,
I am at a supermarket.
So any apple will work here. This is kind of like a Macintosh kind of flavor. It's got a nice little sweetness. I like tart apples, so you can use like green apples. Granny Smith would be fantastic.
You can use any apple.
Any apple.
Because they say for baking apples.
yeah, sometimes you get that list of different ones, but it's really
I don't have
own
rules
personal taste.
for baking. Whatever you like. And I'm just gonna grate these up.
watch that core.
Watch the peel really well, and I'm not even peeling them. I'm gonna throw everything in there. Once I get to the core, I'm getting some apple splash back here. I'm gonna grate that up. Yeah, once I get to the core, I'm not gonna grate it all in. I know some people that just eat core and all. It's a preference thing, I guess. All right, I'm gonna do 2 apples. And if you have a food processor, you can do that as well. This is just a lot easier. And again, this is gonna give it some nice texture. There's a lot of water content, a lot of juice in the apple. It's gonna give it a nice light fluffiness. All right.
Beauty.
So, apple, again, the pulp, the skin, everything.
We're keeping the skins on as much as possible here at Elixir Kitchen because that's where a lot of the nutrition is concentrated. A lot of the fiber and some of the antioxidants that may help to reduce your cancer risk and even help to fight cancer.
So that's gonna go in there. We're making a mess.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
with the ricotta, you can really alter it to what your needs are. So you can get, you know, a lower fat ricotta cheese, or you can get the regular one based on whether you need more calories or you want to keep it on the lighter side.
Sorry?
With cottage cheese?
Cottage cheese, absolutely.
Yeah,
cottage cheese would
that
work.
would work really nicely.
You can do, you can even do a little bit of a thick yogurt actually in there. You just might have to add a little bit more flour, but cottage cheese is a good choice, yeah. So we're gonna mix it up really well. We're gonna add about a cup of flour. You can add whatever flour you want here. We love using red Fife. which is a local flour, really nice and hearty. And you can mix that up. You can use a little bit of unbleached all-purpose if you want, whole wheat, whatever you want.
If you wanted to do all red fife or something higher fiber, would it work just as nicely here?
So red fife, I don't find it absorbs so much liquid. Whole wheat flour does. Whole wheat flour, I find, just sucks everything up. So if you were to use whole wheat flour, use a little bit less or just add a little bit more liquid to it. And I'll show you what you're...
Get the right consistency.
Yeah, and I'll show you what you're looking for. So and that's it. I don't want to over-mix it. If I whip this up too much, I'm just going to really activate the gluten that's in that flour, and it's going to be really kind of chewy. So just fold it in so it's all mixed through. That's it. Done. Really, really simple. We're going to spoon this onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Like I said, you can do it in a shallow pan with just like a couple teaspoons of grapeseed oil or something like that if you wanted. But in the oven, 350, about 30 minutes, or you can do a little higher, 375 for about 25 minutes. And I'll show you what they look like. So we did a bunch, magic oven. That's it. They're almost like muffin tops.